First of all, welcome to this video series with Cosmos Hub, and thank you for taking out time from your busy Cosmos 2024 schedule. Appreciate you doing this. I think to begin with, if you can give us a quick introduction about you, what you're building, and what's your role at the project.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me in the first place. My pleasure. And my name is Mitya. I'm a co-founder of Drop Protocol. Drop is a liquid staking protocol for the interchain. It's a part of the Lido Alliance, the inaugural member of Lido Alliance, and is deployed as an integrated app on Neutron.
I think to begin with, can you tell us how did you come across Cosmos, and why did you choose to build on it?
Actually, Cosmos was kind of the thing that attracted me to crypto. When I started in crypto in mid-2021, I started for a P2P.org validator, and I was actually talking to Vasily, who is like Lido co-founder, and he was a P2P CTO at that point. And we were discussing like what we can do together, and we were discussing like a product manager job for P2P, and he said like one of the exciting things going on is Cosmos. And after that was like an interview for me, and after the interview I was new to crypto, didn't know much, and my theory was that if kind of crypto goes beyond financial use cases, then for me it's like a trigger that okay, like that's thing is real, like that's an industry that I really want to join, because obviously I saw a lot of technical innovation going on in crypto, and that was something I was looking for really. And then I looked at like all the list of the Cosmos chains, and I saw Akash. And Akash is like clearly not a financial kind of use case, and at that point I thought, okay, that's the thing then. Like that now it makes sense to me, because it's not only about like launching like magic internet money thing. My opinion has changed since then a lot about like I think financial use cases are hugely important, and I was actually cancelled from the traditional banking system twice since then, so I appreciate it a lot. Yeah, like the Cosmos thing remains. Yeah, that was really kind of the first thing that attracted me to crypto, and throughout kind of my crypto journey before focusing on Drop, I had like different stages of it. So there was a pretty long kind of part of it when I was more focused on the Ethereum ecosystem, and I just always was kind of mesmerized by the whole kind of Cosmos and interchain concept. I think that makes a lot of sense. It just makes me exciting, this kind of vision of the world where we have so many different ways to launch your project. You can be part of the ecosystem, you can be completely independent on your own, you can choose your path, and you can have like a lot of control over your destiny. And I think that's something that excites me in the Cosmos, like in general. Now these boundaries are kind of blurry, right? So there's a Celestia ecosystem, is it part of Cosmos? I know there's like Bear Chain, they're pretending that not a part of Cosmos, but no, they are. We love you guys anyways. I think it's super exciting. It's just, I know, somehow it kind of speaks to my brain and to my heart in a way that's difficult to deny. So yeah, that's why.
What do you think, because I'm pretty sure you have researched and experienced like other blockchain ecosystems as well, what do you think sets like Cosmos apart from its peers?
Sure. So I think it's an easy answer. Like I think Cosmos is the kind of the pioneer in blockchain in general, and it's kind of easy to track all these things happening when like the innovations that were first created in Cosmos then got adopted throughout the ecosystem. Yeah. So like the whole kind of notion of like interoperable ecosystem of like blockchains, restaking, generally speaking, like the whole kind of like let's say consensus innovations that and like proof of stake innovations that were pioneered by Cosmos as well. So like I think like if you're building in this space, you're kind of building something that's gonna become mainstream into years. And if you like talk to people outside of Cosmos, for instance, now it's for them it's like completely surprising how much has been done in Cosmos in terms of just interoperability across the protocols. So in our case, for instance, like I've been asked this, I love this example, I've been asked this question, like if you work with Drop, like on which chain do you have to be? And like the answer is, like, it doesn't matter, right? So like you can work with Drop's UI, your assets can be anywhere, you can just, all these kind of IBC transfers, they can be completely under the hood, and it's just very simple UX that you can create with Cosmos. So I think like that's one of the examples where Cosmos is really like ahead of everyone else. So like for the Ethereum ecosystem, it's maybe like a problem that is just emerging, like all of a sudden, oh, there are so many rollups, how do we make them interoperable? It's been solved in Cosmos. So I think it's very cool for all of us, kind of who's in the ecosystem, because we are kind of building this future of crypto, and then maybe not literally in terms of the assets or in terms of the tech stack, but in terms of the like concepts, Cosmos is definitely eating the world. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
There are a lot of LST projects on Cosmos now.
Yeah.
What do you think something that needs to be improved to make onboarding new users and have them make use of this liquidity even more frictionless?
Yeah, so definitely have quite a few LST projects, and collectively all of us still have like a pretty small market share. So if you compare the interchain ecosystem to Ethereum or to Solana, like the market share of liquid staking compared to staking is like a few percent, like let's say 1, 2, 3%, depending on the chain. And in Ethereum, it's more like 30 to 40% now. So yeah, it's a pretty significant difference, which means that there is a huge opportunity for still, and it means that there is something that is still not quite working. And there are many objective reasons. I'm not suggesting that like the LST projects in Cosmos are not doing great work. I think these are really good teams. It's just like objectively a difficult problem to solve, but it's also a very important problem to solve, because like if it's not solved, the ecosystem is not going to be very successful. So I think like our thesis is in Cosmos you have to solve this kind of chicken egg problem of you need like a vibrant DeFi ecosystem for the LST assets to make sense, but you also need LST assets for DeFi to provide liquidity. And the chicken and egg problems, they should be solved by some kind of, let's say, external force that puts the system outside of this kind of blocked state. And in our view, the way it should be done is essentially through creating very deep integrations between the DeFi protocols and the LSTs. So basically, like what we can say for sure is that if you build an LST and kind of put it out there and hope that the DeFi protocols are gonna like pick up on that and it's gonna be kind of magically happening, it's not happening in Cosmos. It happened in Ethereum. I mean, not literally like that, but there was like a very large DeFi ecosystem that was like ready for this liquidity to put in. In Cosmos, we kind of have to solve both problems in parallel. And this is why for us, like the strategy is to create this like super deep partnerships with the DeFi protocols. And our like the whole mindset is that like we should like create and evolve our assets in a way that to make them kind of the best assets to use for the DeFi protocols, and kind of vice versa. Basically, like work together with them on some kind of joint roadmap, joint strategies around bootstrapping liquidity, joint incentives and such. And so far, I think it's been working really well for us in many aspects. So first of all, we strategically bootstrap liquidity around the ATOM, so that for the protocols like lending protocols, for instance, they are very good in terms of what they care about. Like they care about like liquidation path essentially. So at the end of the day, they need to liquidate this asset sometimes, and this is kind of the foundation of their whole risk strategy. So this is what they're looking at. So when you kind of have to plan backwards from this goal, right? So when we were planning the whole kind of liquidity graph around that, we were thinking, okay, like how do we create this liquidity? How work with the partners that will be providing liquidity? Like what's the best way to incentivize users to provide the liquidity that these protocols kind of care about, and so on. So yeah, that's our kind of core belief, that you should create this integrated strategy with your DeFi partners, create deep relationships with them, and integrate in multiple levels. So there is like a technical level of like when you synchronously composable with them, that creates all kinds of efficiencies. Also, we're running this droplets campaign that allows users to earn droplets towards the airdrop, and now it's like neatly integrated across protocols like Mars and S-Report and Prism and Levana, so that when you look at their interfaces, you can also see, oh, this is how many droplets I'm earning if I'm entering this position and such. So yeah, once you create this kind of multifaceted integration, that really starts to work in very interesting ways. So yeah, that's basically our thesis. And my mental model about all of this is just like the liquidity in Cosmos is like frozen in native staking largely, right? So we have these crazy staking ratios of like 60 to 70%. It's like a huge kind of mountain of ice, let's say, right? And we're all trying to pick like small pieces out of it and melt it and like create liquidity out of these frozen assets. And now we're like seeing, okay, like these tools actually work well with this ice, and we can kind of get more out of it and get more liquidity into the ecosystem. But at the end of the day, there's like a huge ecosystem around it that kind of relies on all this liquidity that should be flowing. So yeah, need to keep cracking the ice, and so far been really successful with it. So
since you're working with on Neutron as well,
yeah,
since you're building on Neutron, I wanted to get your thoughts about interchain security and Hydro as well, because this is like a great combination of module that can really make an impact about onboarding more projects and also bringing in more users. What are your thoughts about it, and how it can have like a real impact for growing Cosmos?
Yeah, so I mean, interchain security has been obviously like a pretty important part, like for Neutron and for us, because it's a great way to create this like very strong foundation that you're building on top of. In terms of like, we know that there is a lot of like economic security coming from Cosmos Hub and like Cosmos Hub validators, and from all the stake that sits with them. And for anyone who is like assessing, again, like what are the risks that I'm taking on when I'm using this protocol, obviously like that's one of the kind of very like big check marks, right? Let's say. So it's like sitting on like billions of dollars of economic security, and yeah, it's obviously great. So from this perspective, I think like this whole like framework for interchain security works really, really well. And especially when you're talking to, let's say, institutional investors that are more risk averse, and they kind of often approach decision making from the perspective of like, what are all the risks that I'm taking, and what are the controls for this risk? This just checks out this thing. So yeah, that's absolutely great. And I think for us, it also very interesting because we can use all this security without, let's say, all the headache of like dealing with the validators directly. So kind of Neutron does this job for us. As a smart contract-based protocol, we can really focus on the product, not on like dealing with the validators, for instance, and like chain upgrades and such. So yeah, for us, it's a very important part of the strategy. And yeah, Hydro, I guess, a different beast. Yeah, it has a history, right? Because of how Cosmos Hub governance works, it's almost like let's say people are voting, or like token holders are voting directly on this like economic decisions of deploying liquidity in a framework which is, it's not particularly optimized towards these types of decisions, right? So like Cosmos governance framework is like pretty general. So and maybe it's not perfectly fit for this, because now when like the liquidity is deployed, like how do you manage it? There is no framework to like assessing performance and so on. So obviously like there was an improvement needed from this perspective, and I think Hydro is a great step into this direction. I think Hydro gets a lot of kind of negativity from the ecosystem, which is not well deserved. I think like when you start thinking of it as a okay, like let's try this thing, kind of roll it out step by step, kind of crawl, walk, run approach. Like do first step, see how it works, and then like maybe tweak something, and then deploy it on a larger scale. Yeah, I don't see why if you take like iterative approach on this will not work. There are arguments like, oh, like there were different protocols that kind of tried similar setup, but didn't make them super successful and such. I think it's not necessarily the right mindset. Well, first of all, it's not always helpful to think in like analogies of like someone tried this, didn't work for them. Doesn't mean that it's not going to work for Cosmos Hub. I think you should like look at your particular kind of problem at hand, try to apply this tool, see the results, iterate on this. And I think that's what Informal team is doing with Hydro. So yeah, I'm pretty happy about this direction. Like, is it ideal? I guarantee you this is not ideal. Like when we do the first wave of like Hydro deployment, we will see outcomes that no one was thinking about, and then we'll have to fix something. It's all about like, if we can fix issues quickly, then it's all going to work out well. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about Hydro, and yeah, it seems like it's going live soon. So yeah, like I treat it as an experiment, and I really want to see the results and then improve on that.
About Cosmos, where do you think Cosmos is headed in the coming 1 or 2 years? Like, what do you think will be a few key milestones or features that that are really gonna like get people excited?
Yeah, that's a great question. Not something I control, of course, and also depends on like what are the boundaries of like what do you call Cosmos. Yeah, I think if you kind of narrow it down to Cosmos Hub in particular, I think like we saw a few, like maybe like a couple of years, maybe less, maybe like a year of actually a lot of product development happening on Cosmos Hub, like way more than before, which is to a large extent I think underappreciated, because like now we have new things going on, like Hydro, for instance. Now like finally we have Cosmos on the hub, but it actually opens up quite a few new opportunities. And I don't think it's reflected in, let's say, either like token price action, in the adoption to a large extent, and also just generally speaking in the sentiment in the community. So I think what's needed is more like telling a very clear story about it, so that something that would, let's say, make people excited about like how it actually kind of puts Cosmos Hub like in a new position in terms of like how it relates to all the other kind of ecosystems around it that are like, and there are many new ecosystems that you would consider them like maybe competitive. They're kind of doing the same thing, right? You can launch your project kind of easily. It's easier than launching your own chain, so here's how you do it. So I think Cosmos Hub should really have like a very clear story about it. It's not necessarily about features. It's more about like getting exciting partners on board, like helping them out, telling like a consistent story. And I think that's kind of the key. Like features should kind of follow the same strategy and like the same narrative that you kind of tell consistently to the market, and so that people kind of see what is beyond Cosmos Hub. I think there is also some let's say history of like ATOM being like one of the first tokens that you can stake and get yield. It has this kind of flavor of this is the asset that you just stake. So yeah, more utility to the assets would be great as well. But yeah, that's kind of something that we're trying to impact on our side. So yeah, hopefully there is also just more DeFi activity and more use cases coming for the token itself.
We'll jump into this rapid fire section. ATOM is a token. Sell it or compound it?
Compound for sure. Well, it's compounded by Drop Protocol for you. Yeah. So compound it using Drop Protocol, use it in DeFi. Yeah, that's the way.
Why do you think cosmonauts should hold ATOM?
Oh, they shouldn't hold it. Like they should use it somewhere. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now there is. So if you're just like optimizing towards getting more ATOM, there is many ways to do this with Drop. So
got it.
Watch out.
Is there any misconception about ATOM that you would like to clear up?
Airdrops. Yeah, you're not only getting airdrops if you stake ATOM. Like all the LSTs are getting airdrops recently, and it's just you won't see airdrops at the, let's say, level of Celeste airdrop. I think so. Just stop optimizing to airdrops as well. Start doing something else.
If you were to choose one metric that can clearly show the growth of Cosmos about getting mainstream adoption, mm-hmm. What would that metric be?
Yeah, like Telegram applications. Telegram applications are huge. Like they get like millions of users easily. Yeah, like people want to play with the stuff, like tap the hamster and whatever. Like help them make some fun and integrate your assets there.
If you were to describe ICS in one word,
security.
Do you think intelligent security is a safety net or a growth accelerator for Cosmos?
Primarily, I think it's a growth accelerator. Safety net is a way to grow. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What's your go-to interchain wallet?
Well, I guess go-to is still Kepler. I'm using all of them now. Yeah. I have to. Like I test stuff all the time.
Who do you think should be the CEO of Cosmos?
There shouldn't be any CEO of Cosmos.
Name one challenge that's facing Cosmos Hub right now.
Like toxic perception of the ecosystem.
If you were to give a tagline about, or like a catchphrase about building on Cosmos Hub, what would it be?
Build the future, something like that.
Okay, I'll take it. That's a wrap. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you guys.